Hi everyone, Naka Onolafor here to make the invisible visible. And I'm going to be talking about the new Black single mother, as well as the time that I bought my own fake engagement ring. So I have some story time for you all today. And I also want to continue to unpack the invisible woman. And as you all may have seen my last video, I published a book about being an invisible woman, and I'm going to be unpacking this over the next several weeks and months. It is not something that I can do all in one video. So this video will include some level of analysis of the invisible Black woman. Let's get into it. All right, so if you've been paying attention in the media, we have been experiencing something that we may not see often. Keke Palmer recently revealed her pregnancy announcement on Saturday Night Live. Rihanna, we all know, has had I believe a son recently, and both of these women are considered single moms. Now, they both have partners, they have boyfriends, but they are not legally married, and therefore I am considering them a single mother. That has sparked a lot of conversation. There's a lot of people who feel, differently about whether or not they should be, proud of their societal position, or, some people believe that they should be ashamed. And I'm going to give my take on this from the perspective of a single mother, from someone who has a now 11-year-old daughter. So Kimberly Nicole Foster, and she has two channels. So she has a For Harriet channel, and she has her own personal brand channel. And so I'm not sure which channel she put this video on, but I'm going to link it in the description, and I want you to listen to what she has to say about this topic. It is moving, and she always does such a great job of giving a cultural analysis from the perspective of a modern day Black woman on this. And she talks about how she is in support of Keke Palmer, as well as Rihanna and many other Black women who have chosen to become single mothers without being married. Why? Is because she talks about, in our modern dating culture, particularly once you are a woman of a certain age, oftentimes one of your primary goals with dating is because your biological clock is ticking, and not only do you want to get married, but you also want to, start a family, have children, and so forth. And she says in this video, in so many words, that she doesn't blame women like Rihanna and women like Keke Palmer for making the choice they made to move forward as single mothers, right? Even though they have boyfriends, but as unmarried women, because she recognizes how high the stakes can be for women who want a family. And as some would say, the options sometimes can be slim out here, particularly if you're looking for a Black man. So, the way she breaks it down is she talks about how when women go on a date, right? Oftentimes it might be someone you just met, and you're looking at this person as a potential husband or a potential father of your child. And perhaps, it's just like the first time you're meeting them, or maybe you just went back and forth with them online briefly, and all of a sudden you're processing, marrying this person and having this person's kids and raising a whole family and buying a home and having a white picket fence and a dog with someone you just met. You barely even know. You don't even know if they like you like that. And so she talks about how, she doesn't want women to go through that agony of every single date, every single text message, every single DM. It's like, oh, the stakes are so high. I have to make this work. I have to, make this happen with this person. Otherwise, I don't know when the next potential suitor is coming. Again, this all ties into the woman's biological clock. So I thought that was just genius for her to explain it that way, because I know that even though many women won't admit to thinking this way, many of us do, right? You meet a guy, he seems nice, all of a sudden you're starting to think about, what kind of wedding dress am I gonna wear, or is the wedding gonna be big or small, right? Second date. And so, in terms of Keke Palmer, in terms of Rihanna, in terms of, and another thing too, she also acknowledged that Rihanna obviously being a billionaire and Keke Palmer having, being wealthy, their experience, of course, is different from the average Black woman. So in no way did she compare these two celebrity women to regular women. She did acknowledge the fact that they have a plethora of resources available to them. And in her opinion, their kids will not struggle because of the simple fact that, their parents are, or at least one of their parents, the mom, is wealthy. So even if it doesn't work out with the father, these are women who will not suffer financially in any way. And these are kids who will not suffer financially. Now, that doesn't mean that the kid doesn't need a father, but it does mean that the kid will not have to worry about any financial needs, being met or not being met. So I love that she, tied that in, because I think as someone who is a single mom, of course I've heard people say, as you hear people say, well, I don't want to be a single mom, or I would hate to be a single mom. You hear women, I would say that. And although I understand that sentiment, I understand where it comes from. And in many ways, I can get it. It's like, I don't think anyone should have a goal. Well, and some people do, but it wasn't my goal to set out to necessarily be a single mom. However, as I said in other videos, there's a lot of ways in which people become single moms. Sometimes you are married and you might get a divorce, or your husband could pass away, or, there's a lot of reasons why. But I think one of the things that single moms won't tell you or tell others is that, being a mother is a title that no one can take away from you. So regardless of what baby father drama may exist, regardless of, yes, as a single mom, you may have to do more providing, more protecting than you may care to do, because you hope to have, a husband or at least a committed partner there to help you with those things. You may have to spend money that you feel like, oh, I shouldn't have to spend this by myself. But the truth is that once you have that title of being a mother, it is a title you have for life. And it is a title that no one can take away from you. Unlike the title of being a wife, unlike the title of being a girlfriend or a fiance. All right. Those things can be snatched away in an instant. One argument can happen and all of a sudden, miraculously, you're no longer that girlfriend, no longer that wife, no longer, that fiance. But as a mom, that is a position that you can't dethrone a mom from being a mom. Okay, whether she's a good mom or maybe not the best mom, she's still a mother. And so I think that, there's something to be said for women who want to experience motherhood. And in my opinion, it is one of the highest honors afforded to a woman. You go through your entire life and you have these periods, and, for some women, our periods can be pretty gruesome and terrible. And you go through all these feminine things, these feminine ways that our body responds. And the only hope is that you're able to reap some of the benefits of that. And so, and again, and I am in no way supporting or encouraging, I should say, people to go out and be single moms, but just in many ways trying to allow you all to understand why some women choose that route and why some women feel comfortable moving forward, even though they know that they might be parenting in some cases alone. And so, being a single mom, for some single moms, we look at it as a flex, especially if you're a woman of a certain age. And you, quite frankly, don't want to have to approach dating from a place of desperation. And I'm not saying that if you don't have children, you are approaching dating from a place of desperation. But I do think that does happen. There are women who they want the husband, yes, but they ultimately want the family. They want the children. And to get to that, they believe that they have to, of course, go the traditional route and get the husband first. And it can be very upsetting to find out that your entire trajectory in terms of motherhood and the life that you want to have is resting in a date or resting on, whether or not some guy chooses you to be his wife. And so I think when you look at the new Black single mother, who she is and how she is in the world, in many ways, she is a woman who is stepping out regardless of her, in many ways, aware of her social status, aware of the status she holds in society, aware of perhaps, how challenging it could potentially be to become a wife, in this modern day with all the dating apps and everything going on. And this woman is pushing forward, choosing to have a child, despite, having to worry about whether or not she's chosen by a man. And so I think many Black women have been socialized to view, if we're pregnant, even if we're married, to look at it as like, well, this is our baby, and I've heard that before, where it's like, if you have a baby, whether you're married or not, that is your baby. So you kind of are socialized in some way to view motherhood through the lens of, worst case scenario, be prepared to do this alone. And that is a way in which I think, probably a mode or a means of protection in terms of how Black women are socialized to protect themselves and protect their children. But I think that can also lead to, of course, a mindset of maybe some women being overly confident or confident about being able to raise a child on their own if they so have to. So this is part of what I'm calling the new Black single mom. Also, the lack of shame, and that's something that, when I go into my story time, I'll talk about the shame that I experienced from being a unwed. I think I was 28 at the time when I was pregnant with my daughter, and why I purchased a fake engagement ring to ward off some of that shame, or what I believed was helping me to ward off some of that shame in professional spaces in particular, and so that's something that I don't know if that shame is still there, and I'm not saying that shame should be there. I think that there's something to be said for women like Keke Palmer, like Rihanna, and many just average Black women who are very proud of being pregnant, and even if they're not married. But comment below and let me know what you think. Do you think that Black women do you think that there is a new Black single mom? Do you think that in this day and age, there is not as much shame associated with being pregnant and, not being married? And do you think that's a good thing? Or do you, think that perhaps we should go back to the way things were maybe for our parents, where if a woman was pregnant, the man would, in some cases, marry her, and there would be some shame around being pregnant and not being married. What do you all think? Let me know what you think about that. So yeah, in terms of my story time, I'll just give you a little bit here. But when I was pregnant with my daughter, as I said, I did purchase a ring to wear as a engagement ring for myself. So it was clear that things were not going to work between, myself and my daughter's father. But I was very aware of the social stigma of being pregnant. And again, like I said, being in professional spaces, being young, and wanting to be taken seriously, and wanting to be viewed a certain way, and the lengths that I had to go to to get that somewhat of that feeling was, again, to purchase a ring that I wore throughout the duration of my pregnancy. That way I could appear to be married, or at least to be engaged. And that was something that I did. I don't necessarily regret doing it, but would I do it again that way? I'm not sure, and so when you see women like Rihanna and women like Keke Palmer, I don't believe they have engagement or rings or anything like that, and these women are standing proud. They have their bellies out, walking around, and in many ways they seem to be very happy about motherhood. What do you all think? I mean, again, do you think that being a single mom and not being married, is something to celebrate or not? So it's definitely a interesting discussion. Please comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Like this video, subscribe, and stay tuned as always for more videos. Bye.